Alright folks, what is up? This is One Big Bugga, and this is Mass Effect 3, but this is not going to be part of the playthrough. This is uploaded out of order, because I want to give my impressions up to this point about the game, things that I like, things that I don't like. And, well, one thing I'm going to start with, let's start with some of the things it does right. First off, obviously the looks. To me, it's much more detailed, much more beautiful and vibrant than Mass Effects 1 and 2. Of course, a couple years difference in making the games would obviously account for that. Now, other things it does right, it definitely instills a sense of hopelessness in you. You're one man who, for however many years, has been touting that this massive invasion is going to come, and everybody's disbelieved you, tried to discredit you, done everything basically in short of calling you crazy. They relieved you of duty, they abandoned you, you were resurrected by a rogue group that you are now battling against, and you're trying to put together a force to repel the invasion that did actually finally show up. But in the terms of trying to put together a force to try and battle this invasion, you're constantly having to put out fires. The Turians, because of things they did in the past, are nearly at war with the Krogans. The Asari are too busy trying to shore up their own bases rather than try and come out and help. You know, and you're constantly running around having to do things, and on top of all that, with all this Reaper activity going on, you have Cerberus that you have to deal with as they've become the enemy again. And you're constantly having to battle them and put out spot fires while this entire invasion goes on. And through the stories and through the characters and through everything you go together, even conversations that you overhear, you kind of get that feeling and sense of hopelessness, but you also still see the ignorance of people, such as here at the Citadel. The war's not here, they don't see it other than some refugees, not a big deal. The attack of Sovereign has basically been forgotten, and you know, nobody seems to really truly care because it's not in their doorstep. Only the ones that are fighting right now, like the Turians, like maybe some of the Solarians, and the humans, who are the ones really under siege right now, are really trying to do something about it and trying to bring the Krogan in and all that. So it really does do a great job in storytelling. And as always, the main missions, the meat part of the missions, are really good. You know, the story continues, the missions are good, it's difficult, the battlefields are dynamic. You're no longer at one end of the battlefield fighting people on the other end of the battlefield. The people on the other end of the battlefield will try and come around you, will try and flank you. They will use their abilities to their advantages, such as mechs and guys with shields, and heavier troops will actually just keep trying to come at you and try and overwhelm you, while other support troops do things in the background. You know, the battlefields are much more dynamic, and doing so much more difficult. And there are more things I think that are done right, but we'll get into those as I remember them. Some of the things I really feel like it's done wrong. Number one, the Citadel. The Citadel in number one felt like a place. You could run around, you could explore it. It took a lot of time, and maybe that was part of the drawback, but to me it also added to the charm. That you had the freedom to move around and go where you want. Mass Effect 2, they really took the Citadel away from you. And in Mass Effect 3, they tried to find a middle ground. They made it so you had plenty of places to go, but you didn't have to walk around to get there. To me, it still makes the Citadel feel empty. You know? I don't have to walk anywhere. I don't have to traverse places. I can just go like the Presidium Commons, and I don't actually have to walk to the Commons. I don't encounter things along the way. I'll encounter things while I'm there, but I don't encounter things along the way. And to me, that really takes away the overall feel of the game. And one of the things they did right is being able to come across people who are interacting, and you can influence their conversation, but that's only a mild distraction. You know, you either support one and get Renegade, support the other and get Rebel. There's no actual talking in there. There's no dialogue where you can choose and find out what's going on and see how these people feel. You're just kind of walking and going, no, I think he's right. It doesn't have the same feel to it. Let's see. What else about the Citadel? They say they made it more a living, breathing place, and some people will ask to join you. I'm not too far into the game, but I'm far enough that I've only had one person ask to join me, and that is the reporter. Other than that, nobody's asked me to join me on the ship yet. As a matter of fact, everyone I've asked to join me really hasn't. And speaking of which, they've really taken away from a lot of the camaraderie of Mass Effect 2. I know a lot of people were looking forward of returning characters, but a lot of these characters are only making really guest appearances. Kasumi Goto, she was one of the most interesting characters in the game. I love taking her along on my missions, and she makes a guest appearance. Miranda, she comes in and you can tell her that you still love her or that things are different. She runs away crying or whatever happens, you tell her you love her, and that's it. That's all you see of her. You know, Rex is on your ship, but you know, you can't take him on missions. You don't have Grunt anymore. I mean, they really took away a lot of the characters, including one of the best characters, I think, in Legion. Oh, there goes my dog. Always when I'm trying to do something important. Or at least important to me. But as the case may be, you know, just the characters that you used to have, you don't have anymore. And that they've minimized the amount of your squad. You know, they say they want to focus on deeper relationships and more fulfilling relationships with a smaller group. I really don't feel like that's something that really should have been done. The larger squad just made you feel like you had more depth, make you feel like you had more crew, make you feel like you had support. On the flip side of that, I understand that you're not maybe supposed to have all of that support. You're still supposed to get that bit of loneliness, which when you're on the Normandy, you can tell, of course, it's unfinished. You know, there are wires and lights and everything hanging out, and so maybe you just don't have that crew. But it's just not the same. All the characters that you really got to love and enjoy in Mass Effect 2, you only get to see them briefly in Mass Effect 3. And I really think that that kind of hurts the game. I mean, I don't care about that big Marine down in the shuttle bay. You know, I don't so much care. I mean, they brought back Liara. Why? Because so many people liked Liara from Mass Effect 1. And there was kind of a big thing in Mass Effect 2 where you only got to do the Shadow Broker thing with her. I know a lot of people didn't like that. I know a lot of people were looking forward to putting Legion back into your group. One of the most interesting characters who you could not have in your game until the very end unless you hacked it. And the interesting thing is when you hack Legion is that he had dialogue for the entire game. I mean, I did it. I right now have Mass Effect 2 hacked with my Paragon, and I take Legion everywhere I go from the very beginning, and he has dialogue for the entire game. Almost every event that happens, he has something to say. And I really think it was a bad idea that they did that. They took him out. One of the good things they did, of course, here was EDI, and I'm not just talking about the physical appearance. Actually being able to give her mobility and give her interaction, being able to take her with you on missions, giving her more of a personality, she's kind of filled to a degree that Legion void. And that's something I've really appreciated. This is one of the good things that they've done in the game. Customization. You know, this has always been a sticking point with Mass Effect 3. Well, with the Mass Effect series in general. Mass Effect 1, there wasn't a lot of customization you could do. There was even less customization for like armor and weapons. You could add things, but your look generally never changed. In Mass Effect 2, you could change your armor pieces. They gave you different benefits. You could change the material and the colors, and there was a bit more customization. Mass Effect 3, they've tried to kind of blend the two together, and to me, we're marginally successful. I can add 2 mods into my guns. I cannot add any mods into my armor. All I can do is mix and match armor pieces that already have preset bonuses to them. And I I'm limited on how I can make them look. I really can't give them that personalized touch, you know? And another sticking point I've had with Mass Effect for a while is if you want to wear a helmet. Helmets have bonuses, so it's very beneficial to have them on. But if you put a helmet on, in most missions where you're not in your casual, you're always going to have that helmet on, which means you're going to be speaking with the helmet on. It means you're not going to be able to see Shepard's facial expressions, which is all part of the series of the cutscenes. Seeing those facial expressions, seeing his eyes narrow, seeing him become angry, especially when you're playing a renegade, makes a big difference. So the fact that that helmet is always, always there, if you put a helmet on them, including in the cutscenes, I think really takes away from the fact that you don't want to wear a helmet, and you end up losing some of those bonuses. Excuse me. And like in the cutscenes as well, my Shepard is using... In the cutscenes, you see him with an assault rifle. My Shepard does not use an assault rifle. I use a sniper rifle, and occasionally I'll pull out a pistol. And I'll pull out a pistol, and I'll pull out a submachine gun. I don't have an assault rifle. Now that brings me to another point, the weapons. Mass Effect 1, your weapons, you were very, very reliant on them. Even as a biotic champion, you were more reliant on your weapons than you were on your powers. In Mass Effect 2, they balanced it. They limited what weapons you could use. So I couldn't use certain weapons. And, you know, they kept them limited. And your powers were stronger and more versatile, like the biotic charge. You know, it was not unheard of to biotic charge into a Krogan and then blast them with a shotgun a few times and shred them down. In Mass Effect 3, you can basically use whatever weapon you want, but it's dictated by weight. Now, the problem I have with this is some of the guns are just so strong. And the biggest case in point is the sniper rifle. Oh, hi. Now, the sniper rifle has become the virtually only gun I need. It is so powerful, it can kill almost anything that I've come across so far in terms of normal troops in 2 shots. Most things, if you hit them in the head, will take out in 1 shot. It's the best weapon you have versus large enemies. Atlases, Reavers, anything like that. It's the best weapon you have. And your powers are virtually useless against bigger things. You know? I don't want to biotic charge into a Krogan. In a lot of places, if you biotic charge, you're going to find yourself at a major disadvantage, out of cover and out of place. You only can really use things like biotic charge if there's only a few enemies left. Or maybe somebody's really close by to you. You really can't get in there. Now, part of the problem is I am jacking up my power ability and not going so much defensive. Maybe that's the problem I'm having. But I think in general it wouldn't make much of a difference, because you come under so much fire at times that even if you had really heavy shields and health, you'd still go down pretty quick. And because of that, I find myself just relying on the sniper rifle and using my powers if somebody gets close. In particular, Nova. Somebody gets close, I slam down Nova, knock them over, if not kill them, at least set them off balance. I'm able to get away, I'm able to mow them down, anything like that. Shockwave has been really shackled in this game. I love the new effect, I love the look, I love that it's in the air and not just travels along the ground, but its range has become exceedingly short. You know, it doesn't have the travel distance it used to. It doesn't have the punch that it used to. And overall, its effectiveness has really been gimped. So I virtually don't use Shockwave unless I accidentally hit the button that I have it mapped to, which you've seen plenty of times. On top of that, the only ability I find really useful right now, pull to get shields out of guys' hands. Slam I'll use once in a while because it's kind of fun. But other than that, like I said, I just really find myself relying on weapons, even as a biotic. And the weapon I most rely on is the sniper rifle. You know, that was the other thing in Mass Effect. It wasn't so easy to reload your ammo in Mass Effect 2. For a sniper rifle ammo, every heat cartridge was a single bullet. In this, it's a multitude of bullets, so it's very easy to keep your sniper rifle filled up and just to keep using it, mowing people down in 1 or 2 shots. So I really feel like that they've kind of taken back away from the biotic abilities and gone more focused on the guns, which will make the soldier the most powerful class in the game again. So I really feel like that's a major negative. As a matter of fact, I am saving for it. I have 223,875. I need 237,500 for the Black Widow 1 right now. And once I get that, you know, there's no telling how much damage I'm going to be able to pull off. Especially if I start modding it and jacking up its abilities. Something I feel that's gone wrong as well is your companions that you take on the mission. Mass Effect 1, I gotta be honest, my companions were virtually worthless other than cutscenes and things that they would say. Mass Effect 2, my companions actually were useful. They would use their powers more. They would know where to use them, how to use them, and what to use them on. In Mass Effect 3, I virtually got to tell them what to hit and what to use to hit it with. There's longer times between power uses than I really feel should be, you know? And that becomes immensely frustrating. You know, go and take a look at some of my Mass Effect 2 plays that I put up. You'll see, like, Zaid and Grunt use their concussive shot constantly. You'll see other ones like Liara and whatnot. Not Liara, Tali and Jack use their abilities much more frequently and on targets where it'll affect. And even if it's not targets that it doesn't fully affect, they would still use their powers to try and help take them down. I really feel like I'm back to Mass Effect 1 where I have to dictate to my 2 companions what to do and where to go because they're not capable of doing it on their own anymore. And to me, that's truly, truly frustrating. Don't get me wrong, overall, I love the game.
Thank you again.
Oh, yeah, okay. I definitely recommend anyone to get it. What I really feel like they tried to do is find a happy medium between Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2, rather than expand on what they did in Mass Effect 2. Hi. Just kind of stand there and stare at me. I'll stand there and stare at you, and we'll be happy. Random occurrence. You gotta love it. But rather than improve on the good things in Mass Effect 2, and then take the good things from Mass Effect 1 and add it in, they kind of tried to blend both together by coming back from Mass Effect 2 and coming up on Mass Effect 1. And what they ended up with was something in many ways is just mediocre between the two. I mean, if it wasn't for the fantastic story and the really good battle scenes that you have, I don't think this game would carry itself very far on just its merits, its gameplay. You know, but this is just one person's opinion. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I don't know. I love the game, but I just see these faults and some things I was hoping they would improve on. I wonder if I'm just like standing in his way. Yeah, that was it. He's like, get the hell out of my way, please. And he's still staring at me. Whatever. So, you know, that's just a short list. It's not like I wrote things down about what I like and what I don't like and what's what. But for the most part, I really feel like they did some things right, but they just kind of got a lot more things wrong. And I just can't get that feeling, you know, out of my head. That this game had so much more potential, considering the things they should have learned in 1 and 2. But, like I said, they kind of came backwards from 2 and forwards from 1, and it didn't quite pan out the way it could have. You know, especially the companions. I really think that's the hardest hit. They've taken away a lot of that. A lot of that. By the way, the 2 engineers from Mass Effect 2, you can get them back. You get something in your Spectre emails that you can pardon them, and they will come back to the Normandy, but I have yet to see them or hear them say anything witty. I have yet to really hear them interact unless I actually talk to them. And it's rather disappointing. You know, they were one of the highlights of the Normandy, and they really kind of removed that. So, there you go, folks. That's the overall opinion I have right now. At least the short of it. I could go into tremendous detail. I'm really good at going on too long about things. But I'm trying not to do that here. These are just some of the positives and some of the negatives I have about this game. Again, like I said, I'd strongly recommend to anybody to get this game. However, I even more strongly recommend if you haven't played 1 and or 2, you go back, get those. They're not expensive. Play them first, then come to this one. Otherwise, you're really taking yourself out of the story, which is the one thing Mass Effect 2 truly does to perfection. I don't think I've come across another game personally that does a story into a trilogy as well as Mass Effect 3 does. That has the ability to draw you in. Oh, and before I go, I will mention one more thing that bothers me. This is something I feel that's been done wrong. To some degree. I can see where they tried to change it, and that's planet side missions and whatnot. In Mass Effect 1, you would go down in the Mako, and you'd have these planet missions that you'd rush around. You go into bases, you battle people, and you'd find stuff. And, you know, there's just so many planets that you could land on and do things. And then other planets, you would just come up and stare at them, and that would be it. Mass Effect 2, they kind of took away a lot of the planet-side missions, and you would just use planets to scavenge minerals that you would use for upgrades on your ships and weapons. This became extremely tedious, especially when you realize you didn't need all that much. But kind of like I did in my first Mass Effect 2 replay, I had like 500, 600,000 of minerals, and come to find out I may have only needed 100,000 total. You know, for everything I did. So I wasted a lot of time and money on fuel and probes. And they kind of gave you the Firewalker missions, but they didn't use it to... I mean, the Firewalker missions in Mass Effect 2 with the Hammerhead were very short and semi-boring distractions. You know, you rarely got out of the vehicle. When you did, it would be for an incredibly short amount of time. You would hardly do anything. And for the most part, you just kind of chugged around and dug stuff up out of the ground using the engines. In Mass Effect 3, there's really almost no side missions that are not given to you, from what I can see. There are plenty of planet-side missions aside from the story, but they're given to you. You no longer scan planets for minerals. This is something I like. You actually will scan a planet to recover things that help you with your war effort, or you can find derelict ships and debris that'll help you get fuel. And you don't have to waste a ton of money on probes constantly. Probes are free, and once you find something on a planet, that's it. That's the only thing that's there. But there's no things that you can discover by yourself. I can't go to a planet, get an anomaly, go, there's something down there, let's go investigate, boof, go down and find out. There's none of that random chance at finding something on a planet and being able to rescue somebody, being able to get some supplies, something special down on the planet. They've taken that out as well. And that's something I kind of miss. You know, having everything handed to you through mails and reports and distress calls and whatnot, kind of take away the desire to explore as much. And exploration's a lot easier in terms of finding things. It's a little frustrating when you do a scan in the system, and the one scan you do alerts like 900 freaking Reapers, and you're lucky if you can pull off 2 scans before they come into the system and chase you out. But for the most part, side missions on planets for discovery, for fun, for little side stories that really even have nothing to do with the main mission, and the outcome and repercussions of that really just got taken away. You know, maybe they overdid it in Mass Effect 1. It was a little too tedious. In Mass Effect 2, I think they went too far in taking it away. In Mass Effect 3, they just went even further and eliminated it completely. And I really feel like that kind of hurt the game as well. If I was to score Mass Effect myself, 7.5 to 8, because the story can really carry it. The battlefields and the main battle and the story battles can carry it, but like I said, just so much I felt like they could have gone back to for Mass Effect 1, like a citadel that you can explore more, like Purgatory. I can only go into the VIP area. Why can't I go down into the common area of Purgatory? You know? I don't know. But anyways, folks, that's going to be it for this. My positives and negatives for Mass Effect. I love the game, but there are just a lot of disappointments to me in this one right now. Like I said, I'm not fully through it. Maybe things will change. If there is, I'll do another video, and I'll amend what I say here. But as to this point that I've gotten in the game, just gone this far, there's a lot of things I really wish that they had stuck with, and a lot of things I really wish they had brought back, and some things they put into the game that I really wish they didn't. Until next time, folks, this is One Big Bugger. I'm signing out, and I'll see you then.